life, I always say the only limited resource that the Lord gives us is time. You have a limited amount of time on this earth. That's it. Everything else is in abundance. And I don't want anyone to listen to this podcast and think that that is me going, look at what I've done. If that's what you heard, then you aren't listening appropriately. Look at what God has done.
Ooh, that's it.
Look at what God has done. I'll give you my time. You give me money. God is a father of abundance. He knows nothing else but. Satan is the devil of scarcity. It was the darkest 5 years of my life. There is no question to that. So many entrepreneurs out there think that success is defined by money. And I am a successful company because I'm making a lot of money. And I don't define my success that way. I define my success in the gift that the Lord gave me was to be an educator. That's the gift.
So just at the beginning stage, like how did you get started? Like what are some of the things that you had to do practically to get the business going?
One, start surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be.
So my guest today is Cathy Tooley, and thank you so much. I'm so excited about this conversation, and I cannot wait to dive into it. How are you doing today?
I am doing so well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I am more excited because I know today is going to be good. Before we started recording, you were already like filling my cup up, inspiring me, and I cannot wait for this conversation. I cannot wait.
Amen.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I know you are the CEO of Tools for Success. You have over 30 years of experience in the educational field. You've been doing your business for over 10 years and you have impacted so many lives along the way. So just tell us a little bit about Tools for Success before we get started.
Yeah. So the easy premise of Tools for Success is that I was a teacher for 20 years and then a principal for 10. And I knew that what really makes a difference in our schools is to really, I always say it's like a wraparound services by loving and supporting our teachers and administrators. And that's what we do as a company. We provide professional development, support, and services to schools, specifically their teachers and their principals, because we really believe strongly as a company that every child has the right to a meaningful, impactful education. They only get one shot at getting that right, and that our teachers are the greatest vessel. They are the ones delivering that instruction. And so I knew as a principal that it was a need. And so when I was no longer a principal in a brick and mortar building, I decided to create a company to fill a need. And that's what we've done. So now we partner with schools from New Jersey to California and everywhere in between to support teachers. That's what we do. That's what we do.
So on behalf of every parent out there and even the teachers and the principals and all the kids, I want to say thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. And I say that because during the pandemic, a lot of us parents became pseudo teachers and oh my God, it was the hardest job ever. And that's why I'm saying a heartfelt thank you, because I was like looking at my kids and I'm like about to strangle them because I was like,
And we do it all day, every day.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand.
We have your children.
Look,
I said the pandemic gave parents just a minuscule little glimpse into what is our world every day. And not in a bad way. We're not complaining. Teachers aren't complaining, but it's like, you know how your children drive you crazy? Well, we've got your children all day, every day, plus 30 others.
Look, I know. So one time I was sitting in, my youngest was in kindergarten, so it was his first one, so virtually, and I was sitting down next to him, and there was like, I don't know, maybe like I'm not 15 other kids, and they could not sit still. And I thought it was just my kid because they was like, jumping around and bouncing around. But I saw all the other kids and I was like, how does the teacher do? Like, I could not, because I was trying to have him sit down and focus and stay still and all of that. But I was like, when I saw all the kids and I was like, how is that even manageable? So, oh my goodness. I can't, look.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, well, it will give you a quick appreciation for us. And then you have on the other end of the spectrum, the poor parents trying to teach AP calculus. Help them with AP calculus.
Oh my God.
Teachers are, I think, the most undervalued,
Mm,
underestimated, underutilized group of individuals and humans out there. I don't say it because I was one, and I say it because I
mhm.
was one. Teaching is not a not. I believe that teachers are born to be teachers
Mm,
because it requires such a giving heart and such a nurturing spirit, plus staying
mhm.
on top of all of the latest data and standards and classroom practices. And we certainly aren't compensated appropriately. But I
Yeah.
think there really isn't an appropriate compensation you can give to what we do. Now I'd like it to be better than what it is, but I don't think you can measure what we do as teachers. And so with the company, I just feel like my audience has changed. I'm still teaching. I just am no
Mhm.
longer teaching high school kids. I'm teaching adults. And that's what
Yeah.
those who work for our company are doing. And the teachers that we work with are
Uh-huh.
they're like little sponges that just
Wow.
are so thankful because they're great people. They're just great people. I stand back sometimes in awe of what God can do in that I say this all the time to our schools. I don't have some secret pill or some magic little sauce that we give schools that automatically make them better. All we do
Mhm.
is help teachers pick up they're already digging the shovel really, really hard. They're already working really, really hard. We just help them move the shovel to the right area to hit gold.
Fine.
And
Wow.
that's what we do as a company. And they're willing to dig because they're already digging. So we just take their
Yeah.
hand and help them move the shovel and dig so we always hit gold with those kids, with that standard, with those assessments, with the requirements. And I stand every single day in awe that God allowed me to have this company and have the people that work for me. I mean, these are
Mm.
incredibly gifted. No one can work for my company unless you've been in the principal's chair for at least 10
Oh,
years.
wow.
And they
Oh,
love,
wow.
and so I'm not talking sloths. I'm talking
Mm.
highly educated, giving, loving, incredible people. I look at my employees and I never use that word with them because we're a team. I just have a
Mhm.
different role than they do. But together we make a difference in schools. And to get
In
emails
lives.
right, it's incredible. It's a gift. It's a gift,
It
which is
is.
what anyone does that's got a successful company, is they're just utilizing
Wow.
the gift to make a difference. Yeah,
As you were talking, I was thinking about, so you are teachers of teachers, and
right.
the impact that a teacher has in the life
Oh,
of a kid. Oh my
oh,
God, mind blowing.
right.
The opportunity to be able to shape a person that God
It's
has
incredible.
created, to be everything that they have been called, and they are capable of doing. I think that that is just an, oh my God, just mind blowing, just the incredible amount of work that you do. And so I am so thankful. I am just, again, on behalf of all the parents out there, and just for the incredible work that you do, just shaping our future, shaping our kids, shaping our lives. That is just
Yeah.
amazing.
Don't thank
Thank
me.
you.
Thank the teachers that are willing to take on the work because
Yeah.
it's
Because
really
it's a
them.
labor of love.
It's a
Yeah.
labor of love. And for them, they have to be willing to say, show me.
Mm.
Is there a better way? How could I do this differently? And the teachers in schools we work with are literally like, do you have you ever seen that visual, where the mama bird flies over and the baby birds do this? Those are the teachers we
Uh-huh.
work. They're like, show me
Wow.
more. Show me more. Let's work together. Or that wasn't working. How do I do this differently? So
Mm.
we are simply the vessel that takes the gift that God gave of those teachers to make them the
Hmm.
best that they can be. That's all that we do.
That's
That's all we do.
wow.
Is bring out the best of the gifts that they've already been given. So we're like talent seekers. Just dig that out a little bit. Like that's really good, but how do you do
Hmm.
that? And our teachers are. I love to get the emails where my school is better because you're here, and you hear all the lovely accolades, but it's kind of like what I felt like as a teacher when I had a student select me as their favorite teacher for the year. That never went.
Hmm.
That never got dull. It never got assumed. It's
Mm.
I always used to think you're the one speaker for the others. I agree that
Mhm.
every student that had me at least had some difference, good or bad. And I feel that same way when we go into schools. That because Tools for Success was there, this is a better school because we
Wow.
work in collaboration with the incredible educators that are already there. that they were willing to say, hey, how do we get better? How do we get better?
Mhm.
Because that's really what life is all about. None of us are
Yes.
perfect, and all of us get better by looking and saying, how are you doing that? And how could I get better at it? That's what our schools do.
Mm,
That's what our
that's
schools do.
great.
And then we just begin
Wow.
to help them be better.
And you have been doing this for over 10 years and you have
December
helped
will be 10
ev-
years.
okay. And then
Yeah.
you've also done it, we've partnered with over 100 schools, you said, from
Okay.
California to the other side of the, spectrum. And
And
so
overseas. We're
and
overseas
over.
as well. Yeah.
Mm. So I know you're also a speaker, you're also an author. I want to like dive in a little bit into, your world as an entrepreneur because you have I just can you just teach us in this like teach us how to be the best that we can be because you're a born teacher.
I think you know what I mean. So first, let me get clear. I started this company because I was fired. So let's get a
Oh,
basis to that. Everyone
okay.
looks like, oh my gosh, she should have. I have always known. It's always been in my heart that the Lord wanted me to be an entrepreneur. I've always known
Mhm.
that. I've had dreams and visions that I would be in this position, but I went to school, I went to college, I got a degree for teaching. I moved on up the ladder, became a teacher, an assistant principal, a principal. I got all the appropriate degrees, and that dream just sat there
Mm,
while I did what the world told me I was supposed to do. Because the
mm,
world teaches us limitation. The
mm,
world does not teach us God's abundance.
mm,
The world teaches us go get a degree and go get a job. So then what you do is exchange your time for their money.
mm,
That's what the
mm,
world teaches us. And I'm not saying my parents did anything wrong. I did the same thing with my three children.
mm.
Go to school, get a college, they all have degrees, they all have great jobs.
That's all
It
we know.
wasn't
That's what we've been programmed to
that's what
do.
we've been programmed. That matter of fact, you are defined successful by the kind of degree and kind of job you have.
Look, I
So the
can
better
say,
the
let me
job,
let me just interject real quickly. As a Nigerian, my parents and a lot of our parents also groom us to be doctors, lawyers, or yeah,
and why is
engineers
that? Why is that?
because they
Because it
feel like
makes
that's the
more money.
yes, that's the
Right. So in
successful
other words,
thing.
because in life, I always say the only limited resource that the Lord gives us is time. Period.
Mm,
You have a limited amount of time on this earth. That's it. Everything else is in abundance.
in
So what we've been
abundance.
taught as Americans is if I'm going to work for an hour, I need to go get a job that's going to give me the biggest dollar for an hour.
That
So
hour.
we've been taught exchange, I'll give you my time, you give me money. So
Mm,
it wasn't until I was fired, budget cuts, they called me into a meeting. I tell the story all the time. On November 14th of 2014, I never saw it coming. And my boss at the time said, and I quote, we're $1 million in debt. You're the highest paid administrator. We'll give you a 2-week severance package. I never saw it coming. I never saw the meeting coming. I didn't
two
know there was
weeks severance
2 weeks.
package.
That's it. November 14th. So I left that meeting, because at first you're kind of dumbfounded, but
Right.
I
You're
left
still,
that. I've never been fired, ever in my life.
wow.
And I
You're
left
like, did I
that
just
meeting.
hear that? Like, did that, like, like you're still
Oh,
like trying to
it was
process
like
all
a Charlie
that?
Brown. I remember looking at his mouth, and you remember the Charlie Brown was like, like I remember I'm staring at his mouth, thinking, I, I, am I getting
Like,
fired?
did you just
Like,
say what?
like what?
Wow.
Like fired? Like no job? Like that's what my brain was processing. Like
Wow.
so, as I went upstairs, I got my purse, came downstairs,
Mhm.
sat in my car, looked at the building that 10 minutes ago I was their principal, and heard the
Hmm.
Lord say to me, "Now you live the life that I designed you for." As clear as I'm talking to you,
Whoa.
as clear as I'm talking to you. And I put my hands in the air and said, "I am so frightened, Father,
Wow.
but I trust." So as I pulled out of the parking lot, I called my husband, and he said, "What just happened?" I said, "I know." I said, "I'm going to call Scott." He was our what do you call him, financial advisor. I made an
Uh-huh.
appointment for him for Monday. And when I went into him on Monday, I said, "I need you to do me a favor." And he said, "What?" I said, "I need you to buy me about 2 years. Tell me that we've got enough money in investments that I can survive for 2 years.
Mm.
I need to make a mortgage payment. Jake's a freshman in college. Our youngest was a freshman in college." And he said, "Yeah, because actually you're over 50. You won't be penalized for touching this money." And I said, "Get ready to write a check." And Tools for Success was born. And what I know now, almost 10
Mm-hmm.
years later, is When I left teaching and got my first raise as an assistant principal, it was a $30,000 raise. You would have thought I made millions.
Wow.
And when I look back at that abundance that I thought it was at that time and where I am financially today, I don't think we understand the Lord's abundance.
Ooh.
I certainly didn't. I thought that abundance meant get a better job that paid more money. What I know now is abundance means live in the purpose that God set you to live in, and there is no limitation to what he can do.
Look, I said before that you are just you. Oh my goodness! Thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
was look. Live in your purpose. Ooh,
Live
can you
in
repeat?
your purpose.
Yeah.
Live in. There is abundance, and what the world defines as abundance, financial security. The company now nets me more in a year than I would have made between that day and retirement.
Wow.
We were taking trips to Florida, and now we're taking trips to Europe for 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
We were giving our children gifts, like Christmas gifts, and now we're paying into our grandchildren's college funds.
Look at God.
Because God knows no limitations. God knows no enough. We have done $247,000 of renovations in the past 3 years to our home and paid cash for it. We buy vehicles. And I don't want anyone to listen to this podcast and think that that is me going, look at what I've done. If that's what you heard, then you aren't listening appropriately. Look at what God has done.
Ooh, that's it.
Look at what God has done. I lived for 30 years. Well, let's go 20 because I was a teacher. My husband worked at a hospital and I was a teacher. We couldn't rub 2 nickels together to get a nickel.
Wow.
I could remember coming out of I'm going to date myself, but some of your listeners will get it. But back in the day, you used to sit at the kitchen table and you wrote checks to write your bills, right? And I put Post-it notes on them as to when they could be mailed based upon my paychecks, right? Because that's what you did. And I can remember going into the living room and saying to my husband, you want the good news or the bad news? Because he saw me paying bills. And he said, start with the good news. All our bills are going to be paid. Now, paid meant minimum on many things, but paid. No one's calling us. The bad news is we have $2.80 in the checking account, and that needs to last us 2 weeks. We have gas in our car, food in our thing, and that was it. I can remember laying in bed at night and worrying because our daughter was a cheerleader, and all of a sudden they needed an extra $250 for insert whatever. That may as well have been $1 billion to us now. Then.
Wow.
Because I was living in what the world told me I was supposed to do.
The limitation.
Correct. Today, I don't even think about money. It just, because every now and then, my payroll is over $90,000 a month.
Wait, say that again. $90,000 a month.
A month.
Whoa.
And growing. And every now and then I'll look at the account and think, and I will literally say this. Hey, Lord, I know you're busy, but have you seen these numbers? Do what you got to do because people got to be paid.
That's
and
right.
literally I'll let it go. And then checks will start coming in. Checks will start coming in. And sometimes I'll go, you like to push it, don't you? You just like to make me worry. Because I think every now and then he has to do things like, do you trust me? I do. I just do. I don't think about if we need to hire a new consultant, will I find one? I say now, Lord, I think we're going to pick up some extra schools and I think I'm going to need some help in Michigan. So send me the right person. And you know how your daughter can be a little slow. Make sure I don't miss it because I can miss it.
Look, what I'm hearing you say, sorry to interrupt here, is like just letting go and letting go, trusting God in every single thing.
You can't claim that it's his company and then control it. And I might be a bit of a control freak. Get this. So if God has taught me nothing over the past 10 years is you don't get to live in his abundance and understand who he is by telling him what to do. It doesn't work.
Preach
it doesn't work. So I have lost more contracts that I was sure I was going to get and got some that I didn't even see coming. And all I do is I have this right over here to my left. Here, I can show you. This is what I look at. This is how I picture my Lord all the time with me. is that when I question, so this is what sits right there.
Oh.
I call it the laughing Jesus. So when I don't get a contract, I look over at him and I go, it isn't funny. I thought we had that. Help me understand, Father, what you didn't want me to get. And then when we do get it, some things, whenever he puts something away, it's because he's got something greater. Always. When he pulls something back, it's because he's got something greater. And then when the greater comes, I'll stare at that picture and go, stop laughing at me. I was prayerful. I let it go. But I think so many entrepreneurs out there think that success is defined by money. And I am a successful company because I'm making a lot of money. And I don't define my success that way. I define my success in the gift that the Lord gave me was to be an educator. That's the gift. The gift that I was born a teacher. I used to make my brothers my students back when we were little, and I would grade their little papers. I was born to be a teacher.
Wow.
The limiting way that I believed it was that was to be in a brick and mortar building. That I needed to stay in a brick and mortar building. And it took the Lord 30 years and being fired in November, because you're not finding any job in education in November. Education is one of those weird fields that the door opens in July and August and it slams shut. You're done. You're not finding a job in November. It's just not happening. And now what he's taught me is, you are an educator. I created you to be an educator. I needed you to get this experience so that you could then help others be amazing educators. And people ask me all the time, do you regret staying in the school as long as you did? No. It may be who I am.
Right.
The Lord didn't want me to leave then, or he would have put the roadblock that he put in my way. I really believe that he put that in my place in November, literally said, checkmate, now what are you doing? Because everyone else told me to go get a job.
Right.
You can go find another job. Kathy, you've got a master's degree. You've got a lot of experience. They were telling me to go to work for textbook companies, or this consulting group was hiring, and I just kept hearing the Lord say, no.
Wow.
You work for me. You work for me. Create my company. Create what I want. Don't listen. And I didn't. And I tell people all the time, 90% of entrepreneurs don't make it because when the going gets tough, the tough get running. So the moment that things don't go the way we say they should go, the way we dictated that my company should go, I need to be making this by this date, and this by this date, and this by this date, have a secretary by this date. And the moment that our story isn't appropriate, we decide, not what God wanted me to do. No, sweetheart. God wants you to shut your mouth and listen. Do what he told you to do. And there are so many times, especially in those first 2 or 3 years. Remember, I went from making a 6-figure salary as a principal to $1,000 my first year.
Wow.
$5,000 my second year.
Wow.
And then today we're a multi-million-dollar company.
But, wow. Okay. I there's a lot that you just dropped that I want to unpack because I'm getting goosebumps. I am getting goosebumps.
That's the Lord. He's good.
Look, so one of the things that I took on from what you said was your gift will make room for you.
That's right.
Because when you trusted God and you were leaning in on what he's actually telling you to do as an educator, you were doors began to open for you. Your own contract, the people that you are supposed to be serving, not just because you're I gotta get this, I gotta get that. No, your own people began to come to you, know, and so let's go back a little bit so you got the announcement from your administrator at the time that you're fired, and then you got in your car. You're going through all this emotion, you called your husband, and then you moved on to talk to your financial advisor, and you were able to figure some things out. So tell me a little bit about okay, so now you're like, God, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. I am going to do it your own way this time. So just at the beginning stage, how did you get started? What are some of the things that you had to do practically to get the business going?
So, I knew nothing about starting a business. Nothing. I thought I was really smart, and I was. I knew how to run a building, but that does not a business make.
Right.
So the first step, once I knew that I was financially going to be okay, my husband and I knew how to pull our belt tight. We'd done it our whole life, raising kids. So we had some, those necessary discussions. Okay, we're not going to have this, and we're not. Okay, now we're going to survive. Okay, we're not going to lose our home. We're not going to lose our life.
Right.
The next step I made was get really, really quiet,
Hmm.
which is not strong for me. As you can tell, I'm a talker. So I journaled a lot. What I believed he was wanting, because I thought I was going to travel the world and be a motivational speaker. That's what I was going to do, because I am a great motivational speaker.
You are a great speaker. You are a great.
But,
You like. I
but the
like tell.
world wasn't opening up for that. And
Mm,
so I started doing my homework, and I learned very quickly that speaking is a saturated field. For
mm.
every one speaking opportunity, there are over 12,000 qualified speakers for it. And so then I decided, okay, I've got to go find people that are where I want to be.
Mm.
I've got to go sit down with people, have meetings with people, have conversations with people who are women entrepreneurs who are where I want to be. And I don't mean in education. I mean
Okay.
have created. I didn't even know that you needed to go file with the Secretary of State and become an LLC. I didn't know that. Again, I was a principal. I didn't know that.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
started putting feelers out on Facebook. Hey, I've started my company. Does anyone know any successful entrepreneur who would be willing to have lunch with me on my tree? I didn't have any money, but I was willing to take you to Panera, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
started doing. And I just became a sponge, taking in what they said, and then
Mm.
you have to be careful too as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Take what they say and sift it through God's plan.
Ooh, love that.
Take what people say, because one of the first things I found is everyone. I'm not disrespecting multi-level marketing. But there were a lot of multi-level marketers that were like, oh my gosh, you need to sell this. You need to sell that. You need to come on my team. You need to come on my team. Well, of course you want me on. I mean,
Right.
I could sell snow to an Eskimo and they think they bought something.
Yeah.
But I used to tell my husband, I'm going to get a shirt that says, I don't want to sell your stuff. I want to sell my stuff.
Yes.
And so I actually hooked up. I was doing a speech for free for a friend, and I met a group, two ladies, who had a branding company.
Okay.
So I was probably November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 7 months into my company. So I had lots of lunches and all these people telling you, as they always do, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're fired. Oh my gosh, I'll hook you up with Susie Q and you'll make millions of dollars. And I took all those meetings because what else did I have to do?
Mm.
But it wasn't until I met a branding company, and you don't even spend tons of money. I didn't, where they really helped me understand tools for success as a brand and separating Cathy Tooley from tools for success, because to me they were one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I really started understanding that and how to market that and how to, I'm doing this on a shoestring budget to start with.
Yeah.
My website then, I literally started by myself. It's not even recognizable to the website we have today. But as you grow, then you can afford to bring different level of people. And I will never forget Dr. Myron Golden. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have.
I attended a thing called Life Surge. Long story short, I ended up hiring him as my coach.
Okay.
And spent more money. This was about 5 years ago, maybe 4. I don't remember. And I remember writing that check thinking, ooh, but I thought he is exactly where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And while our pedagogies didn't agree on everything, I took so many nuggets. So that's my advice to people that are brand new starting out. Well, one, start surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be. Now, my coaches and the people that I surround with I love people, but if you have $100,000 company, congratulations, but you can't coach me.
Right.
I'm not being coached by my current coach has a $2 billion business. And I know how to coach me because I'm not where I was.
Right.
So surround yourself. And there are lots of women like me. I coach all kinds of entrepreneurs for free.
Wow.
Because I believe that when God pours into me, I will pour into others.
Okay, let me just plug that. Let me just make sure everybody heard that. If you're an entrepreneur, go to Cathy Tooley. She will coach you. Yes.
I would be happy to coach you. I consider it the giving back. And then the second thing I say to that is don't be scared to invest in yourself.
Right.
When you're not making money, you get very scared of money. And I really believe that the more we hold on, because remember, the money isn't your resource. It's the Lord's resource.
That's
He
right.
gives you money to serve his kingdom. And when you take what he gives you and you hold on to it like this, you're keeping God's blessings. And so I learned early in the company that, okay, we made an extra $4,000. All right, I'm going to invest that in the company. And so I constantly just turned that back over to his investments. Did some of them not net me what I think I put in? Probably. but I don't look back at those too much.
Right.
And then
Okay.
the last thing I always say is get solid with his word.
Mm.
Sit down, quiet, read, journal. The world has taught us that success is measured by how busy you are. Like, oh my
Right.
gosh, she must be so successful because it took me 5 weeks to get on her calendar. No, she's just really good at filling her time. There's a
Busy
difference
doesn't
between
mean
success and filling your time. And I have time every day built into the word,
wow.
and nothing will interrupt that. My secretary knows, don't schedule anything. She knows the time because don't, I am not good at centering and quieting myself. And if I
Mm.
don't build it in, it won't happen.
Right.
And I've learned the best lessons when I get into his word and let him talk to me. Um, Directions that I thought I wanted to take, opportunities, because the more successful you become, everybody will come out of the woodwork. Cathy, you should do this. Cathy, you should do that. Cathy, why aren't you doing this? And it's very easy. I think as entrepreneurs, we
Hmm.
chase the money instead of staying focused on the vision.
Ooh, I
Because if you
love
stay
that.
focused on the vision and the calling, success will come. When you're
Right.
chasing a dollar or $500 or $50, I turn away more money in a day than I used to make 10 years ago because
Wow.
it's not the
Okay.
calling. It's not what God called me to do. And I don't want to ever live a life where I'm chasing a dollar. I think that the world has taught us that we have to hustle. We have to hustle. We have to get out there and make that dollar. That's the world talking, not the Lord. The Lord
Yeah.
said, I gave you a gift. Use my gift, and I will show you abundance like you can't even understand.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
I say no to more things than I say yes. Now, matter of fact, I just had a meeting yesterday where they are
Mm-hmm.
not with me, and I knew they weren't going to be pleased when we went. It is a good opportunity. It is a contract that could have probably made us $750,000 next year, but it's not in alignment with who we are as a company, and it will feel disjointed. And I
Mm.
prayed about it a lot when we were away at the lake last week, and I just, and I know that that's not what my marketing team wanted to hear, but I know in my heart it's right. And you have to stay true to who God's called you to be when you start to surround yourself with, and I've surrounded myself with incredibly gifted, brilliant, loving, amazing people who are good at their craft and who
Mm-hmm.
advise. But at the end of the day, they don't run this company, I do.
Yes.
So I have to
Whew.
stay with what he's called me to do. And I think the world's taught us that's that scarcity. Oh my gosh, they're willing to give me $500 to do that. And I need to do that because I need to pay the bills. No, your bills will get paid if you stay in focus to what he called you to do. Trust me, I don't, does it look like I'm starving to death?
No.
We were looking at a $600,000 lake house to buy over the weekend to turn it into
Wow.
an Airbnb. We didn't, but we looked at it. 10 years ago, are you kidding? I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? It's just a joke. I was looking at $600 and what I was going to give to the grocery store. And ask any truly successful entrepreneur, and they'll tell you the same thing. So,
Mm.
and I don't know that I define myself as successful.
Mm.
What I do is define myself as obedient.
Ooh,
That I am. That I
look,
am.
so look, I am you are speaking directly to me. Even this
Oh,
morning, I felt like I before I got off my bed, I was saying a lot of the things that you're saying to God, say, Lord, I surrender this to you. I know that I do not want to hustle. I really want to serve. I want my gift to be a blessing. I want to serve people that at the end of the day are going to say, thank you, God, for bringing Victoria into my life. And I feel like, there's going to be times where I have to make the decision about, okay, about the money and all that. But I really want my mission. I want it to be clear to, and I was saying this to God, and I was like, but that, and in my mind, I was even afraid. I was like, I know that's gonna mean some things are gonna be gone, but you inspire me right now to be like, stay on the course and just give God the wills. And I'm so
Satan gives
thankful.
us the what ifs. Satan gives us that.
Mm.
But if you don't do that, Victoria, this won't happen. If you don't
Oh,
follow that path, that won't happen. That is not of God.
God. Mm.
God is a father of abundance. He knows
Yes.
nothing else but.
Yes.
Satan is the devil of scarcity.
Yes.
So
Mm.
when and I'm not going to sit here and so pompously say, "Oh, I never worry. I never get." That's not true. The
Mm.
difference is I don't stay there. When I
Right.
feel it coming on, like, oh my goodness, we just took on that $500,000 contract. Oh my gosh, what's that going to mean in payroll? And do we have the cash out front? I'm a human. And in my humanness, I
Right.
start to worry. The difference is now I don't go very far down that road before I will literally say this. Oh, that was good, Satan. I'm even going to give you a B plus on that. That was good. I started to go there. But you keep forgetting the God I serve. You keep
Mm,
forgetting the God that runs this company. You keep
that's
forgetting that
right.
this company is not Cathy Tooley or Tools for Success. It belongs to Jesus Christ. So you just
That's
get your
right.
little self out of the way so that God
Mm-hmm.
will do. And Lord, you saw what he was trying to do. Let's not give him any time. So, Lord, I'm taking on a big contract. Ready? Whew. This is me
Love
resting in
that.
you. Ahoo! Who's the big one? We've never done one like this. I remember we used to get contracts for $5,000, $10,000. That was big. And now my VP of Sales and Marketing says it all the time. I want you to start looking at $5,000 and $10,000 contracts like, well, we did that once, and we are. Our contracts now are 70, 80, 100, $200,000 contracts, and it's your scarcity mindset goes, ooh, that's a lot of payroll, that's a lot of insurance, that's a lot of who, but I,
Mm,
I'm not saying that you don't go there. My mind goes there. I'm a human.
right.
I am
Mm-hmm.
flawed and imperfect and certainly not God. But the difference is that now I interrupt it quickly and say, Lord, you had us get that contract. So guess what? You got payroll to make. I mean,
Yes. Giving
you
it
got
back to
payroll to make.
you. Mm-hmm.
Back to you. Let me know. Did you need me to sign something? What do you need me to sign? I'll sign. But you got payroll
Absolutely
to make
trusting
because you made
him.
this contract, and it just always happens. And I know that some of your listeners are going to listen to this and go, "Well, I mean that's life, but it doesn't work that way in my life, or it hasn't happened in my life." And what I will tell you is, stop this and start this, and it will.
Mm,
Stop controlling. Stop thinking you have to have every answer because you don't. You are not infinite. You can't have every answer. And start surrendering. Start surrendering to just say, I don't understand. There are times that I've lost contracts and I've literally said, leaving the meeting, I don't understand. It feels like you jerked that out from underneath us.
mm.
You set the meeting up, you set the contract up. I wasn't even going to bid for it, and I bid on it. And then you want to pull it away? Hours, Lord, of time you've spent on this.
Like, why did I
And
even have to go through all that?
why,
Mm,
why did you tell me to all of it if you were going to tell me no? And then
mm,
usually what I will say is, what are you trying to teach me?
mm.
Because I don't get it.
Why?
What I feel right now is hurt, undervalued, and like I was just sent through a game. What are you trying to teach me?
Hmm.
And I don't get some great big voice of, let me tell you what the top 3 lessons of that right now are. But sometimes in a month or a week or a year, I'll go back and go, oh,
Hmm.
oh, wow, I didn't see that
So
then.
okay, so I
But
wanted
let's
to
do
go into
it.
a little bit about how you hear from God. I can identify I'm not very quiet either. I just So you sit in and then you how do you hear? Give me an example of how you've heard God speak to you in a situation like this. And sometimes
Yeah,
you said it
so
might take
that's
months,
a
it might
perfect
take days.
example. We had that happen
Mhm.
not too long ago. We had a partner that we were certain it was going to be a big partnership. My
Okay.
VP of Sales and Marketing and I worked on this, gosh,
Wow.
5 months, maybe 5, 6 months. And it would have
Okay.
been a very lucrative deal. And I felt it slipping. The
Mm.
last couple of meetings, I thought, this isn't going well.
Wow.
And when my VP of Sales and we had a meeting and I said, I think it's time to let it go. She
Mm.
said, I know. I know. I said, I don't understand because I really think this would have impacted a group of students who are underserved and undervalued. And I thought that's what the
Mhm.
Lord wanted for my company, but I don't know. So I was driving home from that meeting with my VP of Sales and Marketing, rather deflated, rather
Mm.
deflated. It was that one and
Okay.
another one. And I literally, what I do is in the car, the Lord and I have the best conversations in the car. We truly do. We truly do. Because, first of all, if I'm not listening to Christian music, which is usually what I do. So I turn on Christian music and usually that right song comes on with that right. If your listeners are not listening to Christian music and you want to speak to God, listen to Christian music because he will talk through words in song.
Right.
And
Mm.
It was a song by Danny Goki called Tell Your Heart to Beat Again.
Hmm.
I don't know if you haven't heard it, but I love that song. But I heard it differently. I'd always heard it in the, something's wrong, you're brokenhearted, as in, some woman or a relationship thing. And I heard the
Mm-hmm.
words differently of the words are really more about release and know
Release.
that you don't have to understand. Um, just tell your heart to beat again. And
Hmm.
I literally, in the car, if you drove by me, in most of the times, I put my hand in the air and I said, I'm hurt, Father.
Hmm.
I'm hurt. I feel like I've been set up. And I
Hmm.
know there's a lesson, Lord. Help me understand the lesson. And I heard him say to me, not now. You aren't ready for it.
Wow.
You're ready for it. And I said, that I let it go. I surrender this contract. I surrender all that it is. I surrender all of my hope and expectations in it. And I stand in service to you. Send me where you
Wow.
want me to be. Sir, and because, it's so funny when you ask believers, they say all the time, I say to the Lord, use me how you want to use me. Make me a vessel. Make me, but you know what most believers mean?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I like the service and I like the vessel and I like the way you're doing it.
I
Because that's what
know.
we say. Lord, use me today to, ready? I've done this. Use me today to speak into whomever you might put in front of me until that rude barista comes up and I am speaking
Right.
into her. Or,
I'm
Lord, let my work be a service to you until that teacher drives us crazy and she isn't going to be coached. And I'm telling you, if one more of my consultants calls and complains, or, Lord, let my company be a vessel as to what you want until that partner comes along and you're like, not them. I don't want them
mm,
or that irritant. So we say to the Lord, our prayers are often conditional.
mm.
They're conditional to my control and my expectation.
Oh my
Am I
goodness.
happy that I lost that contract? Nope. Has
Mm.
the Lord showed me why we lost it? Nope. But do I
Wow.
stand in faith that there's a purpose? Yes. And I
Wow.
have a saying on my mirror that I read every single day that says this: there is nothing that will happen today that the Lord and I can't handle together.
Mm. Love
I read it
that.
every morning. I read it. I made it myself, typed it on my little computer, put it on my mirror. Because when you become a CEO and people's livelihoods are now relying upon you, and people who are
Mm-hmm.
making mortgage payments, who are paying their daycare, that are relying upon my doing what God asked me to do, you think differently.
Mm.
And I don't ever want this company to be about Cathy Tooley and her wants and needs. I want them to be his service for the people that he's put on our team, because
Right.
it's broader and bigger than that now. And I think it's so funny when I just coached a gal not that long ago who went through a very, very, very abusive relationship.
Mm.
That's difficult for me to understand because I've not experienced that. So I'm not one to, I don't have firsthand experience. I don't have
Mm.
firsthand experience. And what she said to me was, I don't know how you believe in a God. And I said, tell me what you mean by that. And she said, in my darkest hours when I was being hit or raped or beat, where was my God? And I said,
Hmm.
do you want me to answer that or do you want to be right? And she said, I want you to answer it. I said, he was right there,
Oh
catching
my
every
God.
tear, holding on to you and knowing that you were in a storm. But on the other side of the storm, there was a rainbow that he had ready for you. So he was right there.
Right
He
there.
was right there. He never left your side. If anyone feels moved away from Jesus, it's you that moved. He was right there. In the spring of 2014,
Mm-hmm.
spring of 2012, I went through the darkest hours I have ever experienced as an educator. Google my
Wow.
name, and you will read about the post at the school where I was principal. It was the darkest 6 weeks was the height of it, but it really then went on to my leaving and going to the charter school and then getting fired from there and then starting the companies. So it was the darkest 5 years of my life, hands down. It was the darkest 5 years of my life. There is no question to that. And I have this visual that sometimes at night, I don't know if anybody's ever done that. I roll over and I grab a pillow and I hug
Mm.
it really tight, and I envision it to be Jesus's legs, and I want him to just put me under his cloak because I'm scared and I'm hurt, and I just held on. I've never felt so alone. I'd never felt so abandoned. I just felt abandoned. I felt like I'd done everything right, and yet I was being punished. What I
Mm.
know now, 10 years later, is he had to put me through the storm so I would step out of my boat of security.
Ooh, it's
I
good.
would have never stepped into this company had he not put me through that storm. So he didn't put me through anything. He didn't punish me. He didn't make me go through something. What he said is, do you see where you are? That is not where I want you to be. But
Be.
I need you to
Mm.
feel this. I need you to understand this. This isn't the world that I have designed for you. And so
Right.
the post-it notes and the firing and the just starting the company financially were the reminder of I have created you stronger than all of this.
Um,
I have created you all of, and to every entrepreneur that is listening to this, he created you stronger for your than your low moments. Because the
mm.
valleys don't feel so great or so deep when you stood on the mountain. I
Mm.
have stood on the mountain and I have lived in the valley. And you cannot appreciate the mountain unless you can look back at the valley. And I will be forever grateful to every one of those storms that the Lord put me through to put me where I'm sitting today. And whatever journey the remainder of my life has, and I don't know what it is, whether this company will fold tomorrow or whether we will become, a Forbes, whatever. I don't know, but I don't care because I know who my shepherd is.
Ooh, it's good.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether we lose. Sometimes some of my consultants will get worried when we lost a school. They're not going to book with us. And I just look at them and say, why?
Mm.
That's not where he wants us to be. We're not going. But there'll be
Right.
others where we will. So why? There's a reason that, and I use this all the time in coaching, that God designed a rearview mirror this size and a windshield.
Mm. The big side.
He doesn't
Yeah.
give us that time to look backwards because he already knew. He
You
knew.
already knew.
He knew that
Mm.
the post-it notes were going to happen. He knew that I was going to get fired. He knew that I needed to be knocked on my butt. I was so arrogant and so full of myself that he had to put me down in
Mm.
order that when I stood up, I took his hands and stood up with him. I
Oh,
believed in Jesus before all of this, but I believed him to be a God of convenience when I needed him.
oof.
And today, he is my God of everything. I don't brush my teeth without him. I don't, go to the bathroom without him. I don't make money as the company without him. And I don't say that as, I know there are some that are going to listen and say, well, you could say that real easily because now you have a successful company. Then I'm going to ask you to rewind because you
Mm.
missed it once. I didn't come from money. My parents were blue collar workers with no college education. My dad didn't even graduate from high school. I have no reason to be where I am except for Jesus Christ. I am no smarter than any principal I work with. Matter of fact, some of them are smarter. They're smarter. They really are. They're smarter. But I'm not intimidated by them. I partner with them. Remember what I said? Find people that are more successful than you.
And you. Right.
I
I'm
just have
taking
the
notes,
gift,
Kathy. I'm
right. I
I'm
just have
taking
the
notes.
gift of gathering people and making us successful. So um, that's what I would invite people to do. So hopefully that's helpful.
No, I'm just taking notes. Like I feel like it's just you're just giving me so much good here. Okay, so one question that I wanted to ask you was about so you're trusting God with everything. We know that faith
Everything.
without works is dead. You obviously are putting in the work. Tell us a little bit about why you're waiting to hear from God on the next move or on even on things that you're doing right now. What are some of the things that you're putting into action to continue to work,
Right.
but not in contradiction to maybe what God may want for you?
What I'm when the question that you ask is why do you continue? Are you waiting for God to help you know what's next? Is I've already proven to you that my knowing what's next sucks, so I just leave. Now, how do I put in action? I've hired a VP of Sales and Marketing who's incredible, and I listen to her. She
Okay.
she knows sales in her back pocket. I got to remember where my strengths are.
Right.
I didn't have to sell a school. So when she believes the web page needs a redesign and it's going to cost this much, I believe her and I invest in her. We have a social media team that I don't think social media is important. I think it's stupid. But I've learned that maybe that's important.
Mhm.
The Lord wanted 3 more books written, so I went away to Florida and wrote the books He wanted written. The Lord is leading on my heart that I need to start a podcast. So I'm going forward in steps by putting Rebecca. Do I want a podcast? Do I think that I need a podcast? No, I don't. But the Lord is saying, and He won't let it go. And what the Lord wants, the Lord gets. There are certain
Yes.
things that I feel the Lord presses on me, and then it's gone. Never came
Mm.
back. Trust me when I tell you, thy will be done, will be done. And
Right.
so now I'm leading forward into a podcast and what that looks like and what topics would we have. The book, I finally just got, oh my gosh, I just couldn't let it. I mean, it's like it was in my every thought. So I went away to Florida for a week and spent 4 days, literally never got dressed, and wrote all 3 books that He wanted written. And then I
Wow.
just felt this collective, whew, I don't know what He was planning to do with them. I don't know why He wants them written. I don't, they are, one of them's a journal about how to
Uh-huh.
really get a closer relationship with the Lord. It's a year-long journal, and the other 2 are positive affirmation quotes that I just roll off of my tongue all the time that I think will help other people. I just think they'll help other people. And so, the humanness of me gets to this, who wants to listen to you? Why are you writing a book? Why are you so special? What makes you? And so my answer to that is, I don't know, because the Lord said so.
Yeah.
Because again, so I just that's how I lean in. When He pushes and pushes, I do as a typical child does, right? Which is, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And then when He keeps pushing, I go, okay. So I told my VP of Sales and Marketing about 3 months ago, we got to start a podcast. She said, finally, finally. And I said, what? She said, I think you would do incredible on a podcast. I think you've
Yes.
got a gift that people would
Make sure
listen
it's a
to.
video podcast too. It's a video podcast.
Okay. And she just said, I said, okay, I don't know anything about it. She said, I'm on it. I'm on it. And she said, when do you want it live? I said, I don't know. The Lord will take care of that part. Just, I'm giving you permission now. Go forward. So she said, I
Mm.
want your books published first before we go live with it. I said, okay. So, am I comfortable? I'm surrounded all the time now with photographers and people that want a quote from me or this stuff. Do I like this?
Mm.
No, no.
Yeah.
Because my brain will tell me you're being arrogant. Look at you thinking you're so special. Like everybody went, oh my gosh, are you like some paparazzi following you? And then I have to stop and say, but this isn't about me. And maybe the Lord has words that He wants shared through me to
Mm.
change other people's lives. And once I
Right.
start thinking about it that way, it becomes more comfortable. I didn't say I like it, but it becomes more when I'm standing at a photo shoot now, I'll think, ooh, you must have a purpose for this because we're changing this. Or when I do a podcast, I always think, who is it, Lord, that you're going to have listen to this that
Mm.
to hear what you wanted to say? Not what I wanted to
Mm.
say, but what you
Right.
want to say. Or when I give a
Right.
speech, who is it, Lord, that is going to hear what you wanted said that will impact them differently? So I say the same prayer every time before I give a speech. Every single time is the same thing. Lord, please let my words be your words. Let my intentions be your intentions. Let my love be your love. Let them hear
Mm.
and feel you by utilizing your servant to say what they need to hear. And
I
then off I
love
go.
that.
Then off
Wow.
I go.
You
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I go off script or, do whatever I do because I'm like, okay, I don't know why we went there, but there was somebody in that audience that you wanted to hear that. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Just removing yourself from the picture because it's not about you. It's about who God is wanting you to minister to. Ooh, I
So when
love
I get
that.
my podcast going, I'll have you on it.
Yes, I was gonna say, please, yeah, the podcast and the book. So the podcast is coming up. The books are coming. So there are 3 books. So I'll be watching out for that as well as the podcast. And I encourage anyone out there to definitely be because this woman right here, she is a bucket of gold and so much
Oh,
more. Oh my goodness.
oh,
So I
thank
have to
you.
tell you, and it's a question too. And okay, so it's really about me. So and I know that you coach entrepreneurs. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm just gonna because I'm hoping
I
that
love
this
it.
is gonna
Bring it on.
help
Bring it
somebody
on.
else too. So I'm at a crossroads where I'm like, okay, I I'm waiting to I really want to do this God's way. I'm committed to doing it the way, and like I said earlier, I raised my hand and I said, take the wheel, Lord. And I'm at the point where I'm waiting, intentionally seeking to hear what he has to say. And I feel like my desire is to have a studio space outside of my house. I right now have my studio in my home garage, and I want it to be outside of the house. I want to do so much more. Like, I want to offer so much more to people, again, that I feel like I would be an answered prayer to them. That's it's not everybody, but people that when we work together, they're gonna say, "Thank you, Jesus, for giving me the opportunity for us to work together." These are like it's a
Absolutely.
service, it's an answered prayer. That's really where.
Absolutely.
So, but then I'm like, I really want to get the space. I'm not quite sure if this is where God is wanting me to go to, yet. So I'm like, should I keep
So let me
looking
interrupt
for
you.
space,
Let me
or
interrupt
should?
you.
Okay,
Yes, you do. Yes, you
okay,
do. You already know the answer.
okay,
You already know it. He wouldn't have laid it on your heart if he didn't intend it to be. So trust him to provide for it.
okay.
You do already know the answer. You're wavering because of your brain and Satan telling you how you're going to pay for it. What's that going to look like? Are you financially going to have? He wouldn't have laid it on your heart if he didn't want it to be. Go get the space, and the Lord will
Okay.
take care of how to pay for it.
I'm
Go
just
get
like,
it. Go get it. And don't be stupid. Don't go get some $55,000 a month. You know what I mean? You don't need to be stupid. We have to be
right.
respectful of where we are, where his stewardship is today. And don't look at the space that you're going as the end space. Look at it as the starting
Mhm.
space.
Right.
This is where I'm going to
Mm.
go today, because these are the resources that I believe the Lord wants me to commit to this today. And be
Mm.
prepared. Be mobile, because I promise you, in 10 years, you won't be in that space. And you will look back at the space you had like, and I was so scared to go get that. So people say that to me all the time. I feel like the Lord is leading me to do this, or I feel like that and I look at him and go, then why aren't you there? Because as long as you remain in the limitations of what you tell yourself, he will stand back and believe what you want to believe. He
Oh,
already has
wow.
the space. He knows where it is. He knows where you're
Ooh,
supposed to be. He's laid it on your heart, and you're too scared to go get the keys.
I am
Go get
scared.
the keys. It's
My
out there.
brain is thinking of so many things and all of the, like, beyond getting the space, all the things I gotta do to make the space ready and all of that. And,
That's just
so there's
stuff. That's just
mm,
stuff. I want you to think
stuff.
about what God had to do to prepare the disciples for him to leave. Do you think he said, well, hope that works out? Hope they're smart enough. Hope that he picked the biggest losers out there and said, you are who I select. Not
Mm.
the best, not the brightest. These were criminals. These were not all great people. And he said, you shall preach my word. You will. And we want to question that we don't have it. The keys are out, and he's out there going, woohoo, here's the key. And you're going, well, I don't know. I don't know if I got the key. I don't know if I should go get that. I just think you should go find the space. And
Okay.
you'll know when you walk into it. So hear the
Mm.
Lord say, this is it. And you may have to go through some duds. I don't know. I don't know your world or your journey. What I do know is when you say, I feel like this is placing, when people say to me, I really feel like the Lord is pressing on my heart, insert. And then I get all the buts. I always think, I
Mm.
was done after you said, the Lord is pressing on my heart too. Boom, that's a period on the sentence.
Yeah.
That's a period on the sentence. Just go get
Mm.
it. Go find the space. Get
And
yourself
and
out
I
there.
feel, thank you so much for saying that, because I believe that God is going to order my steps, that as I look at all these spaces,
For sure.
I'm going to, like you just said, I'm the right one. When I get in
You'll
there, I'm
know.
going to know that it's the one. And even if it's
You'll
not
know.
yet time, like if I feel like, okay, maybe because I'm truly giving it up to him, it would order my step at the right time, in the right space, the right everything is going to line
So
up.
don't put any limitations on
Don't
that.
put any
Of time or
limitation
space.
on there.
Stop it. Stop
Love
it.
it.
Stop it.
Okay. No
You start
limitations.
to say, Lord, you're calling me to be in a space. Let's go. Let's go.
Whew,
Where
love
do you want
it.
me to be? Put the right
Yes.
Stop saying anything of if I don't find it or if it's not right. Because if you're already putting the limitations on it, Lord, you have ordered me to be in a space. Send me where I shall be.
Whew.
Period. No more limitations. No more but, if, or it could. Or don't start saying things like, I'm okay if it takes a year or two or 10. Stop it. Lord, you have ordered a space. Let's go. We got work to do. Come on. Time's a wasted, Lord. Time's a wasted. And time is money. So let's go.
Love it.
I tell people all the time, tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me now. I've got to go. Time is a limited resource. And so that space and all that he wants to do with it, you're wasting his time by not getting it.
Whew.
You are
I gotta
wasting
say,
his time.
forgive me, Lord, for doing
That's
because
right.
that
So
yes.
I say that all the time, quite often. Forgive my unbelief. Forgive my insecurity. Forgive my humanness. And do through me what you want done. I am not qualified to be doing what I'm doing. But he is. He is. And therefore, I will do. I will do. So go find your space. Go find your space.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that again and again and again. So I appreciate that so, so much. Like, and man, I am so fired up right now.
Yep. I'm excited. Send me an email when you get it so I can come by and see your space.
Yes, I will
And I would
definitely.
love to come stand in that space and pray with you. I would
Thank
love
you.
that. I would
Yes,
love that. So
I
please
would love
invite me.
that
I would
too.
love to come pray in that space so that the Lord just does, amazing things. And maybe we'll share a space with my podcast.
Ooh, well, I produce podcasts too. I gotta plug
So
myself.
Victoria, I need you to kind of get going. I need a space. So you're already holding me up. Let's go. Let's go. We got
Okay,
things to do. Let's go.
okay.
And I promise you, I'm not alone. I promise you, I'm
Oh
not
my
alone.
God.
Because you're gifted at this. The Lord's called you to do this. So you can help others like me that aren't there yet get there. So think of it differently.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
And
very, very welcome.
the one thing that I also wanted to make clear to anyone listening to this is that yes, we have the faith, we take the limits off of God, but that does not stop you from taking the steps. You still have to
Oh,
do the
God.
work.
I say this to people all the time that people will say to me, oh, well, Cathy, I prayed to God to want a business. Look, God is not like Flashdance. You remember the movie? You're probably too old. But Flashdance, she threw her head back and they threw this big bucket of water on her. And then she stood up and she was a dancer. You got to actually get up off your butt and do something.
Do something.
You got to do something. I learned from a business coach, Myron Golden, who taught me, I'd rather do it junky than not do it at all.
Ooh, that's good.
Do it junky and say, I'm going to give Myron Golden, Dr. Myron Golden that. Do it junky rather than not do it at all. And we sit back waiting for everything to be perfect. God is the only one who's perfect. So what makes you think you're ever going to get it right anyway? I think of my first website and think, oh, thank God it's still not out there now. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Because it was bad. It was really bad. But it was fine. And it was what I had.
Yeah.
That's why we stop looking for a perfect space. It doesn't have to be perfect. Only he's perfect. Just go find a space.
You just set me free again. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Ooh,
No,
I
he will
love
make
that.
it perfect. He will make it perfect for its purpose now.
Yes,
Maybe it's the same space in 10 years. Maybe it's not. Don't get married to it. Because if it's not, he'll move you.
Right.
But all you have to do is start now. Start now. Start today. I started with one school. One. And gosh, well, we charged them, and I didn't have an agreement. I didn't have anything. I remember one of my schools saying, have you sent me an invoice? And I was like, I went back to my computer. How do I create an invoice?
Wow.
Right. Or are you going to have a signed agreement? Yeah, I'll have accounting and get that to you. I was accounting. How do I create an invoice?
Wow.
Do it junky, but do it.
Just
do it. Just prove. People get perfection analysis. Perfection paralysis, which is if I don't do it, oh my gosh, if I don't send that out there perfect, then I am ruining my brand. You don't have a brand. You don't have a brand. You have nothing. So something is better than nothing.
That's right.
100% of something is better than your 0% of perfect.
Absolutely. Yes.
So just start. If you want to be a dog walking service, start walking dogs. Get out there and start walking dogs. If you want to be a babysitter and open a daycare, then watch kids. You don't have to have everything perfect. The Lord's calling me to do a preschool. Then start in your home. Start with a few kids. And then before you know it, you'll outgrow your space. And because if you're living in your gifts, You can't stop the blessings.
Woo, that's
Period.
good.
You
Woo.
can't stop the
You
blessings.
cannot stop the
You
blessings.
can't stop them. So
Mm.
your perfection paralysis is the only thing that can. Because
Woo.
he's out there putting it on your heart saying, yeah, yes, do that, yes. And you're going, yeah,
Mm.
but I don't have an invoice and I don't have an agreement. And he's going, but, yes. And you're going, but wait a minute, maybe in a month or two, I'll start that. I mean, Logic told me in November, for God's sakes, there's nothing I can do till spring. I
Mm.
decided, nope, I'm going to write my book. I got nothing but time on my hand now, so let's get this book written. I want to always have written. And I wrote it and got a publisher to pick me up, and the rest is history because I didn't wait.
That's
I didn't
right.
wait. That's why don't wait. He's
Don't
already put
wait.
it on your heart. When people say, "Oh gosh," I hear it all the time. The Lord has really directed me to do this, and I think, "Are you stupid? Like, do you need another? Like, would you have heard from the Almighty? Who
You've
else's
already
permission
heard.
are you waiting on?
Just go.
Just go." He doesn't make
Go.
mistakes. He does
Wow.
not make mistakes ever.
Mm.
He doesn't
That's
make mistakes.
good.
He
Yeah.
does not make mistakes.
You know, one thing that I just came to my mind that I've been processing, and I actually said it out to my son. I was like, because he needed to hear that too. I said, do not let the stress of being the best get the best of you.
That's it.
Because, we're always wanting to be the best and we're trying to perfect it, like you're saying. And then we're so stressed out that we're not even getting anything out there. Ooh, but thank you. And I had to,
Yep.
I had to like get myself. I could be a perfectionist too, but now I'm like, you know what? I want to just be excellent, but I need to get things done and keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. So,
That's it.
whew,
And I
you
don't
just,
care if you keep moving, because here's the other thing I say too.
uh
People
huh.
have this fear that, okay, if I take a step down this road and that's not the road the Lord wanted me to take, do you really think that the Lord's up there going, okay, ready? You want to go down road A. And when you started down road B, the Lord went, well, told you road A. Don't listen to me. Bad child. Bad child. Done. I'm done with you. Nope. He's over there going, ugh. I knew she'd take A. Okay. All right. So I need to get down A and start
Mm,
ordering her off back to B. Back to B.
mm,
That's where I wanted her to be. Oh no, now she took C. Oh well. Okay. All right, we got a little bit more work. And back. But he never gives up on us. He never abandons us. It says that in the Bible hundreds and hundreds of times. I will
mm.
never forsake you. I will
That's
never
right.
leave you abandoned.
That is so
Never.
true.
So there's
Mm.
nothing you could do, no road you could choose that he's going to go, dummy, didn't listen to me, dummy. He doesn't have it in him. He just doesn't have it in him. He loves us. He loves us.
He
He
loves
loves us.
us.
He loves us. And I don't know how many times, matter of fact, there's no other phrase said more frequently in the Bible than do not be afraid.
Yes.
Do not
Whew.
be afraid.
And we know that's what the
I
devil is always
go,
using. That's his number
I
one tool, the
go
fear.
before you always. Come,
Yes.
follow me, and I will
Yes.
give you rest.
Yes.
So I don't get your space. And then like I said, let's work on we may be chatting again to work on the podcast. I may put you in
Yeah.
connections with my people in sales and marketing. So you never know where the Lord takes things. So
Right. Thank you. Whew.
you're
This
welcome.
has
You're
been
welcome. I gotta jump off
so.
here and get on to another call.
Yes, I was gonna
Thank
say
you.
I've taken a lot of your time. I am so thankful. I am gonna put a
You're
lot
yeah,
all the links to your website, your social media, and everything at the end of this podcast. I even forgot we were having
thank
a
you.
podcast. This is how good it is. But thank you so much for just pouring into me. Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you so much, and I just cannot wait to chat with you again. Until next time, yeah. Have a great rest of your day.